Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fantastic Duo Show. Now, this is the Fantastic Duo Show, but today we have a very special guest. Before I get into that, I want to introduce my host and co-host, or however you want to look at it, Mr. Steve Cardenas. What's up, Steve?
What's up, crew? How's everybody doing? Good?
Doing excellent. And today we have a very special guest, longtime friend of Steve Cardenas, and another surreal moment for me, somebody who I watched when I was younger. I don't know if that makes you feel any older there, Mr. Hawkins, but I got the one and only former Mr. Ryan Steele and many other entities. Brad Hawkins. What's up, Brad?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on the show. The fabulous trio show today.
Yeah, right. The fantastic trio show today. I love it.
Yeah, man. So, let's start off with how everyone's doing. Steve, how's your week been treating you? We have one episode down. This is our second one. Things are moving and grooving, and look at you. You have a headset on now. You're
I got to do a little upgrades. And next week, you're going to see all kinds of other cool stuff, like we'll probably set up some microphones and we'll set up some cool backgrounds and stuff like that. So we can always have cool stuff going on and besides the door in my background,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We're going to be upgrading both ends here. And Brad, how are you doing, man? How's lockdown treating you? I mean, I know things are a little bit different down in Texas, right? Like you guys are pretty much now free to do much,
Yeah, I think we're a little more free than the rest of the nation, it seems like, and I'm some places, rest of the world, but Texas has, we've been pretty fortunate. I think we gave everybody time to do a lockdown, but it's really crippled the economy, and it's a big, they're in my business, and I'm sure it's pretty much happening in other businesses too as well, but I'm paying more attention to the restaurant and bar business that I'm a part of. I'm a restaurant and bar owner here in Texas. So I pay attention to that, that area of business more so than anything else. And we had to all close our doors. I mean, all restaurants and all bars closed down. So after a couple of weeks, we got a chance to get our team together, and we were approved for some of the government funded loans. So we were very fortunate to have that.
That's good.
Yeah. And once that happened, I was able to bring my entire team back, the ones that felt comfortable, that wanted to come back and work and be around, if they were comfortable being out in public, and being around other people, they could come back. And we just started digging in and just really deep cleaning and remodeling and refacing all of the restaurants. So they got a chance to come in and not only get paid to work, and they didn't have to stay on unemployment, but they got to really come in and dig in and kind of be a part of the remodel for a lot of our places. So we got to get out of our houses before we went, stir crazy and just get in and really get the places up and running. And so now as of tomorrow, bars are allowed to open again in the state of Texas. So we're excited.
And the fact that I live right down the street from your bar, Brad, I will probably be going there and checking it out, Yeah,
it's all brand new. I mean, everything we did just, remodeled, new paint, new tables and chairs, and we upgraded the patio. And I mean, I was out there every day, me and my girlfriend and my staff and everything. And we were just, sanders and nail guns and paint and just, having a good time. But they got their stamp on the place that when you come back in, you get to come back into Shakerton's and Austin Ranch, and you're like, oh, that's new. They did that. That's cool. So it looks like we put some time into it.
And everything's coated with the COVID guard, like the Scotch guard across up.
Man, I don't think there's enough. Every time you turn around,
that would be a good idea. Actually,
and
you can come up with a Scotch guard for the COVID.
It's so hard, man. It's like, one, with social media out there, you just don't know. As soon as you hear one thing, it gets contradicted in another report or another post. And I'm just like, I'm so fed up with it. I mean, it's like, who's right, who's wrong? What's the right thing to do? What's the wrong thing to do? I mean, every day it turns on a dime and goes in a different direction. So truthfully, I don't know. I really don't know. I trust some of the doctors that I've been in touch with, some of my good friends here in Dallas that are prominent doctors that are treating patients. I trust what they say, but I'm staying away as much as I can from social media. And it just seems like it's a contest on who can feed you the fake news the fastest.
Right. Quite honestly, I've been doing the same. I've just been avoiding watching the news because it's just a nonstop 24-hour dump of all
it really is
coronavirus and stuff, and I mean, there's only so much you can take of that, I tuned out,
Yeah. I tell you what I did. I got really good, and I'm not gonna say I got really good at it, but I started waking up super early in the morning because we were getting in bed a lot earlier because, we weren't staying up until 2 and 3 in the morning with the bars. So we were able to get to bed at a decent time. And so I found myself getting up earlier in the mornings. Well, the gym isn't open, so you can't go to the gym. And I found myself just watching a lot of, Squawk on the Street and Wall Street and a lot of MSNBC and, really getting into stocks and just watching things because after March, was it March 13th, everything tanked. And I was like, man, it seems like a great time to get in on, on some stocks. So I really just started watching every morning like clockwork. I'd be up for opening bell and just, started playing around with some stocks. It was kind of fun, seeing everything.
So you mean to tell me Brad became a day trader?
I'm a day trader. Yeah. Yeah. I've had some winners and I've had some, what the hell was that? But yeah, man, I scooped up some stuff that I thought was really, a steal. And it's fun. It gave me something to do during the day. There's no sports. I can't go to work. Right. There's no gym. So I was just like, man, what can I do to really just keep the learning machine going and try to learn something that I'm not really, good at or comfortable with. And that was one thing. I was like, it's right in front of me every morning. And hearing what's going on in the financial world was really exciting because I felt like that was probably the most pure form of news that I was getting. Right. From knowing what's going on in the financial world. So that became my new obsession. I was just like, oh, this is cool. I feel like I picked up another trait.
Interesting,
awesome.
Man.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I didn't know that was going on with you, man. So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's why the podcast here. Now we let everyone know that, you can hit up Brad Hawkins Incorporated and, you can get all your stocks. And
Brad Hawkins Holding.
Holding. What is it? What's it? Stratton Oakmont. Remember Stratton Oakmont, the Wolf of Wall Street?
That's it.
Steele, Ryan Steele Oakmont or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Literally. So
Brad and Oakmont.
So one of the big reasons why we brought Brad, obviously, is because we do have a large fan base around the Saban entities, right? Whether it's the Power Rangers or VR Troopers or whatever, and you also have an extensive background in other things that you've done from what I've checked out. But before we get into that, into how you got into the whole VR Troopers deal and television, is how'd you meet Steve? Like, how'd you guys hit it off?
Okay, so we can back up to how I got the job in a little bit. But I was on VR Troopers, and I think it was our first. I think it was first season first season
because it was second season.
Yeah, because it was Power Rangers second season, and it was my first season. But we were already on set, and there was the cast changeover, to you and Karen and Johnny, and so. When that happened, I was asking around and they were like, yeah, all the new Power Rangers are all from Dallas. I was like, shut the hell up, right? So I was really the only Texan, on our set and kind of in that area. So to have, 3 people coming from my hometown was super cool. It was going to be the new characters on Power Rangers. So we hit it off right out the gate. It was just like fellow Texans.
Yeah. And, so when we first got on the set, they gave us a tour of the lot that we were on at the Valencia Studios where we were filming everything. And the Power Rangers set was on a corner, and then next to the lot right next to ours was the VR Troopers. So we went and toured, and then that's when I first met Brad, and we started talking, and it was like, oh, where are you from? From Dallas. Oh, shit. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, we instantly hit it off, and it's been like more than 25 years now, that I've known this guy. And it all stemmed from just oh, you're from Texas? I'm from Texas, and I automatically felt like home because I had just moved to a new state and I was overwhelmed with all kinds of stuff. So to just have somebody that was in a sense familiar, so to speak, it definitely helped me feel a lot more comfortable in a time where I was very nerve-wracked by the whole thing because I had never done any acting before and I'd never, had an experience like this. So it was already overwhelming. So to have somebody sort of like, that came from the same city I was living in and kind of threw an arm around me or whatever. And made me feel a lot more comfortable. So I always appreciated that about you, Brad.
You got it, man. Well, hey, you were able to return the favor, 20 years later at a Comic-Con,
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, Brad and I have always been friends, and it's like sometimes we may not talk to each other for a while, but as soon as we do meet up, it's like we pick up right where we left off. So I was doing a Comic-Con in Dallas, the Dallas Comic-Con, and or Dallas Fan Expo it was. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, meeting fans and stuff. And, I remember I had my head down and I'm signing a picture for somebody. And I look up and I see this figure standing in front of me. And he goes, "Hey, Steve, I don't know if you remember me." I go, "What do you mean I don't remember you?" I was like, "What up?" So I jumped across the table, man, and I gave him a big hug. And then we ended up having like a crazy night that night, having meals and stuff. And, Brad, he's very much into the bar scenes around town because it's what he does. So he knows all the great places to go and everything like that. So if you're ever going to be in Dallas, make sure you hit Brad up and be like, "Hey, listen, where's your bar? We're going to pop by and say hi." And, I remember him taking us to, what was that place? It looked like a candy store when you walked in. Just like a little storefront that looked like a candy shop.
It was and Truth and Alibis.
Yeah, Truth and Alibis. That's right. And you took us into, we went through this little entry, and then next thing you know, it opens up into this giant, humongous, little gothic looking type bar. It was really cool. All these cool chandeliers hanging from the ceiling and stuff. I'm like, wow, this is quite a speakeasy. And we ended up having a really good time.
Yeah, that was their version of a speakeasy. It was a candy store up front. If you know the password, then you get into the rest of the bar. And and it's pretty good. It's still there. It's going 5 years now. It's doing still crushing it, man. Yeah, those guys are still doing well. And I mean, from us meeting up at that Comic-Con, I mean, the one thing you said to me, you're like, "Why are you not doing this with me? Why are you not doing cons?" And truthfully, I'd never even considered it. I didn't know that was something that was of value. I didn't know that I could do something like that. And you're like, "Yeah, man, let me make a couple of calls. Let me introduce you to some of my friends that are representing me in this business, and and go out with us." And you guys put me in touch with Zach and some other people, and we got the ball rolling. I got to do some cons. So
dude, that's been fantastic because even when we were, I was still living in California, I still got to see you a bunch because we'd end up meeting on the road somewhere, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I did. I mean, I was lucky enough to get into the con scene, and that was fun. And next thing I know, I remember my first con, I only had like one picture. I'm like, "This is my one picture." And I look over at your table, and you got like 20 and helmets and merchandise and all this stuff. And I'm looking at my dinky little table, and I've got like 2 Sharpies and one picture. I'm like, "Hi, I'm Brad." But I built it up, I built it up over time.
Well, what's crazy is, before we get into your story of how you got into VR Trooper. So, as time went by, I joined the Marine Corps, got out, and then I started like reinvesting my time into seeing, lost episodes and things because I was in the war. So I missed a lot, and one of the things I was always searching for is where did the cast of VR Troopers go? Because you're right, there was conventions and like you guys kind of like dispersed after those seasons. Yep. Now, mind you, I got introduced into VR Troopers because I used to get up super early to go train for baseball when I was in high school. Yeah. And for some reason, they were playing it at 7:30 in the morning. Yeah. And I would watch it. I'd be like, "All right, this is a cool show. Same concept as Power Rangers, but just a lot more in the futuristic sense." And then, like, you know what? Before I even ask the question, what happened to you guys? Let's get into the whole. How did you get into the VR Trooper scene? Now, I've heard stories from JDF about how you were supposed to be going into the Power Ranger scene, but we're here to hear from you. So go ahead. The floor's all yours, man.
Let's see if his story and my story line up.
Yeah.
Because I think, there's really only one story, and this is how it went down. I just moved to LA from Dallas. It was, literally, I think I was there maybe 5 or 6 months before this opportunity came up. So it happened really fast, right place, right time. I was a non-union actor. I wasn't in the union yet. So if you're non-union, you can't, you can audition for union shows, but there weren't very many non-union shows in Los Angeles. So I just wasn't doing any, I didn't have any credits. I was like literally 2 commercials from Dallas that were on my resume. So, but I had an agent that was sending me out, and the audition that came in, was it Katie Wallen?
Katie Wallen was the casting director.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So that script came to me, and it was for, I can't remember the character's name. It might have been Adam, but it was for the new White Ranger. That was the part that I was reading for, was the White Ranger. I knew about the show. It was, a smash hit going into 2nd season. They were looking for that character. So went in there, audition, callback, did all the, scenes and all the martial arts and, the stuff that they wanted to see if you could do all the stuff. And I was below average at both, but I could get it done. It's like, can you hit a home run? No, but I can hold
Fake it till you make it, baby.
Yeah. So I had that mentality, and I was like, cool, I'm going to do this move and I'll do that move, and I'll make you believe that I've got what it takes. So, and it was a non-union show. So I think that probably played it in my hand as well as, for you too. And everybody else that was on the show. If you weren't in the union, it was a leg up for us actors that were not in the union. So I ended up booking the role. I ended up getting the job. They say, hey, you're going to be the new White Ranger. And I was like, cool. And we went on set, and everything was like, I was in mode to do Power Rangers. And then I got a call from my agent, and they said that they had spoken to Saban. And here's what they told me, that Jason, who was doing the Green Ranger at the time, Jason did the pilot for VR Troopers, which was called Cybertron at the time. That was the working title. You go on YouTube and you put in Jason David Frank Cybertron, it'll pull up the pilot. Have you ever seen it, Steve?
I actually have not seen the pilot. I mean, I've always heard about it and everything, but I didn't know it was out there, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Make a note. There's all kinds of stuff out there that.
Wow. That's
yeah, I had no idea.
Realize that.
Yeah. Just make a note to go on YouTube. Put in Jason David Frank Cybertron, one word, and it's the entire footage of VR Troopers with him as Ryan Steele.
Wow!
But I think it was called Adam Steele in the pilot.
Oh, okay.
So they sold that with the intention of Jason spinning off and becoming Ryan Steele, Adam Steele, whoever, the lead of Cybertron, which ultimately became named VR Troopers.
Yeah.
And what they did is they called me and they said, hey, at the end of the day, Jason David Frank became so popular, we can't lose him from the franchise. Yeah. So instead of him going off and doing a spinoff series, we're going to keep him as the White Ranger, and we'd like to offer you the lead part on what became VR Troopers. So
I remember. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I remember about that because when they had killed off the Green Ranger, so to speak, back then, of course, they didn't have email or anything like that. It was all snail mail, and they were so inundated with fan mail saying, "Bring that Green Ranger back." You know, that not only did they swap it out where they took him off of the VR Troopers pilot, but they brought him back, and then they made him the White Ranger and also made him the leader as well. Yeah. So it was like, I mean, it was clear that he was, it was the JDF show at that point,
Yeah, no, and I can't compete with that. So I just was like, you know what, I'll take my own show. And, it was nice going out on my own. I'm curious what it would have been like to be a Power Ranger and really ride that franchise wave with you guys.
It was nice.
You would have loved it. Yeah. So, I mean, as fate, would have it, I got on VR Troopers, and we only did a couple of years, and it was really a lot about the toy sales, and we didn't have nearly the worldwide, response on toy sales. And that's really all the shows were. The shows were a commercial to sell toys.
For the toys. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And after our season, either we were going to be Power Ranger toy sales status, or anything less than that was unacceptable. And so we wrote out the second year and threw in some more footage. And then by the end of the second year, they're like, okay, well, if we aren't going to sell toys, then we're not going to continue the show. So that's just in and out, man. In and out. That's how I did.
Yeah, but one thing that Brad did, which I really admired and didn't really follow as much as, Brad took once he got into the union after that. I mean, you see him on everything, I saw him on I saw him on Psych, I saw him on CSI, I saw him in shoot, I can't even remember off the top of my head all the different episodes. He's always been in a lot of bit parts all the time, And I was like, that's my boy right there. I've seen him with long hair and shaved head. I think
buzzed
all kind of things.
Bald. Everything.
So I do see here that you would definitely touched upon a lot of different things out there. I mean, Prison Break, Monk, Charmed, CSI, like those are like, big time. There's some of them are still like either on replay being watched every day religiously, or they're still going. And I do see here that you did do a voiceover for Power Rangers Zeo. What was that all about? That
was a little Easter egg in there. I mean, there's some people that figured it out because I think my voice is, I've been told my voice is pretty identifiable. It's got that rasp to it, and people are like, ooh. So the people were watching Power Rangers, and Steve will tell you better than anybody. If Saban can pay you once and get you to work twice, you're going to do it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So I was on set, and we'd always go in the same studio. We did all of our dubs and ADR in the same studio. And they asked me, they're like, hey, man, we're kind of in a bind. We've got this new footage for this Gold Ranger on Zeo, but we haven't cast the actor yet. But we're like the episode's already in the queue for dubs. And they were like, would you want to do the voice? It's just going to be inside the helmet. So nobody's going to know it's you. And I'm like, okay. So I get on there and I start doing the voice for the Gold Ranger from the introduction. And like if you YouTube that Gold Ranger debut, it's all me. And I did I think 7 or 8 episodes in the helmet. So technically that's when I was a Power Ranger.
Wow. Yeah, that counts. That goes a long way.
So yeah, so and then they brought in, I think it was the triplets and that whole thing, and then Austin St. John,
yeah.
So that's how it all tied together. But initially, and it's funny that's the little the little Easter egg secret of I did the voice because they didn't want to pay anybody else.
Oh my God, that's
I was biased too, but I always thought it would have been cool if you had been on the show with us.
Yeah, me too, man. And we never got a chance to do that. I mean, as much as I know you and Karen and all the rest of the guys that are just family to me now, I never got to do anything with you guys. We were talking about the movie. We were trying to get that fan movie going, for a while. And,
The Order.
Yeah, we just couldn't get that thing off the ground. That would have been nice because it had been one project where we're all in on, and finally we get a chance to do something together.
Yeah. So what was that all about? The Order.
So I think Steve would know more about it than me. I mean, they
right. So it's Karen's project. Karen actually and David Fielding wrote a script, and it's called The Order. And essentially, it's like a post-apocalyptic dystopian type thing, and there ends up being like these two factions. They're called Order and Chaos, and they basically are pitted against each other. Both sides think they're right. You know what I mean? And it's really just like everybody's really dressed in that like post-apocalyptic type style of and there's just a lot of great martial arts scenes. And so they wrote this script, and then we all agreed, all the different Rangers from every season, we pulled everybody from everywhere to be a part of this thing. And we had put together some footage to create a trailer, which was able to create the buzz for it. You can actually go and look, the Order movie, and look it up on YouTube. It's pretty cool. It came out really well. It was shot really well. David Wall directed that, who was one of the stunt guys on Power Rangers, and it was phenomenal. And we all just worked for free that day and put together this really cool trailer. Actually, we worked for about 3 days on it. And we had started to get the funding for it and everything. And then the unions stepped in and put the kibosh on the whole thing. After we were already in rehearsals, and it was like a couple of days before we were actually about to start principal photography.
That's what I don't understand. So wasn't Super Troopers 2, wasn't that fan funded in some way? Am I wrong?
No, I'm not sure. I don't know anything about that, but I don't know. There was some kind of, I don't know. I mean,
I just don't know why they, I don't know why they,
why would they that? Unless somebody in the team said something,
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I didn't really ask. I just had heard it was put on hold for a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, no big deal. We were all so busy anyway, traveling and all that stuff. Like, we were going to have to put a lot of that on hold in order to do this movie, which we were all prepared to do. But, when they put it on hold, I was kind of like, oh, okay, good. Because, I've got like a lot of dates that I was going to have to cancel in order to do this movie. And I'm kind of glad that I was able to keep traveling. Right. So
I just looked it up. So 2015 crowdfunding campaign wound up raising $4.4 million. Second most successful crowdfunded campaign for Indiegogo. 50,000 contributions, blah, 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 for Super Troopers 2.
Oh, right. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it was crowdfunded. Yeah.
So I go, okay. So it's not unheard of for have a fan funded or assisted movie. So what's the big deal?
Listen,
you know,
I got plenty of scripts written in the past. I got some ideas. You guys are willing. We want to make some dough, and we want to go out there. You know,
put together another fan film. Well, I think everybody's riding high right now on the Legend of the White Dragon.
Legend of White Dragon, yeah.
Which is all being crowdfunded right now, and I think they're trying to hit the $500,000 mark, and they're pretty close to it. So if they hit that mark, I think they're going to start production on it.
Yeah,
pretty cool. Just think about me and Brad, JDF. Think about me and Brad when you start filming.
They're here. You know,
bring a couple of Texas boys in. You know,
Easter egg them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So VR Troopers lasted for a couple years. Were you guys like filming rigorously, like every other day, or like 2 episodes per day? Like what was going on behind the scenes there?
4 episodes a day. I mean, it was nonstop. It was without a doubt, it was the most work like in a day. And I was young enough. That was the good thing. I mean, I'm not young anymore.
Man,
but
we were like
when you're
21.
17, I was 17. I mean, you had to be up at 4:35 in the morning. We were in the makeup chair by 5:36. We'd shoot from probably 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It wasn't in the union, so you didn't have restrictions like on a union set. And they just worked you to death, man.
Yeah, they did.
So we'd film our cluster, which is what you'd film every time. We do 4 episodes per cluster, and they'd film them all at the same time. But you'd film 4 episodes every 11 days. Was our turn time.
Yeah, so, it was about the same for us as well too.
Yeah. So you take all the scenes in the lab, or and wherever you're at with Zordon. We had a lab, you had Zordon. So it's like wherever you were at, we'd film all of the scenes that are in that
each of those episodes.
You just literally stay because it's already lit. They'd light the scene for that day or 2 days or 3 days. And depending on how many times that was in those 4 episodes, you just film all those episodes at once, wardrobe change, come back to the same set over and over and over again. So then they'd wrap up everything that was in the lab and you're done with the lab. Now we're going exterior here or dojo here or wherever. So,
it was actually a really smart way to do it. You know what I mean? Because they were all about cranking out production.
Brother, I'm gonna tell you,
shows were coming on every single day.
When people ask me about Saban, and I mean, here's the deal. I mean, he's a shrewd businessman. Haim's a shrewd businessman. Everybody knows it. I don't think he's denying it. I think Jason David Frank benefited from it. He formed a really big bond with Haim and was able to. I think if anything, JDF was able to parlay that into his favor. I don't think the rest of us, got that opportunity. But I think Jason was smart enough to take that opportunity and that relationship and parlay it over into a massive post Power Ranger career, So I'm not upset with Haim. I mean, I just think he's a crude and shrewd businessman. He's going to get his. If you can get footage from Japan dirt cheap and get actors that aren't in the union young and dirt cheap, and if they bitch, you just swap them out, and so that when that happened on Power Rangers, they looked at us and we were like, yeah, we're fine with our contracts, we're good. Don't we just I was making for a 17-year-old, I was making the most I'd ever made, but in hindsight, it was BS. In a what actors should be paid that are on series that are that. I mean, we're talking number 1, number 2 in children's programming in the world. You should be paid accordingly, and everybody usually gets paid accordingly, except we didn't. It was like, here's what you get paid, and if you don't like it, we can easily just swap you out.
Right. And back then, California was a right to work state in that sense. So non-union shows could be filmed there, and now they can't, which is why they moved the production to New Zealand.
Yeah. And then the guys, the rest of some guys got a good run of being in the union. Like it went to Disney. And they started getting, union and all these benefits, and they couldn't work so long and residuals. I was like,
the residuals and stuff. Well, the one thing that I actually dug was Jason Font from Power Rangers Time Force. He was 2 characters. So he got paid twice every single episode. I'm like,
he never had to struggle like us.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're watching Font right now, you never had to struggle.
Yeah, Font.
Does this mean you got Steve? You're gonna have to get Jason in here now to kind of like
Oh, to
tell his side of the story, justify this
his
reason.
2 paychecks.
Yeah, you're in the future and you're in the past, and all of a sudden you get paid for the 2 different characters.
Just say, hey, Jason, I just got one question. This is from Brad. Do you feel guilty when you get residual checks, when you open those envelopes and know that you got those on the shoulders of other Power Rangers and that just got beat to death? Over there, you feel guilty at all?
That's hilarious. So I actually think they didn't even ever have to wear their suits either ever. Really, you know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, they just all used all Japanese footage. So they didn't do plainclose fight scenes.
From what I understand, they just filmed Jason from his dressing room and they superimposed everything around him. He just kicked back in his dressing room and they just put all the rest of the cast around him and all that.
Brad,
I guess we're gonna have to. I mean, obviously, as you can see, Brad is here as a guest host with us, and as you know, with the Fantastic Duo show, if not every single week, we're going to try to get a lot of guest co-hosts coming in. So I think we're going to have to get Jason Font in here to come in and defend himself.
Yeah. Brad, so do you stay in touch with any other cast members? And listen, truth be told, man, I was a youngin watching you guys do your thing on TV. So it was either Kimberly, Amy Jo Johnson, who everybody had a crush on, or it was Sarah, right? Sarah Brown. Who later on went to do
General Hospital.
Yeah, General Hospital, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Days of Our Lives or General Hospital?
Both of them. She won an Emmy in both shows.
Killing it.
She's won like 3 Emmys.
That's crazy because that's why I remember flipping through the channels. I'm like, I know that girl from somewhere. I just don't remember where. And then I looked into it. I was like, holy crap. But do you stay in touch with them? Like, do you see? Like, I know it's a bond between all you guys that have had shows like this, right? During that time, I'm pretty sure it was a big bond, but does it expand into the rest of your life? Like
it has in kind of hits and misses, like Steve was talking, all of us are doing our life right now. So if there's an opportunity and to catch up, we take advantage of it. But I know Sarah's in LA, and the hardest part with Sarah was she ended up having a child with Shuki Levy, the other executive producer for Saban. So you could see where that might get sticky. Right.
Yes, sir.
So,
yeah.
Having a kid, it's not unknown.
Right. Yeah.
But I just don't. I think I've got a sunspot that's grabbing me real quick. See that? Right there.
Oh, there it is. Look at that.
Right there.
See, now if you guys sign up for the video of
the Patreon
on Patreon, you'll be able to see Brad's sunspot in his.
That's it. Right.
It's just you know what it is, Steve. It's the spotlight is on him.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
And this is all we could afford. Right there. So with Sarah, it got sticky because I know that didn't end well, and she was very anti anything Saban oriented. So when it came to Comic-Cons, everybody reached out to her. Gotcha. I reached out to her. Michael reached out to her, and she said absolutely not. I think whatever happened, it's none of my business, but whatever happened on that level put a bad taste in her mouth where she didn't want to have anything to do. Once she walked away from the show, she didn't want to look back. Yeah. It would have been an opportunity for her to reconnect with the fans, but I don't really know if that was necessarily a driving, factor for her. I know she's a mom now. She's a very dedicated and serious actress right now. Yeah. And I think the Comic-Con thing and to be surrounded by everything we're used to at a con where there's helmets and costumes and fans and all this stuff around you, I think that would have brought up some memories for her that she just didn't want to, I wish she was here. She could answer that, but I think I'm close. I just don't think she wanted to be reminded.
And Michael, do you hear about him often or no?
Yeah. Mike's great, man. We have a great relationship. We don't talk a lot. I'd say we talk every maybe 2 or 3 months just to stay in touch, but he's happy. And I don't think he's doing too much acting anymore, but he lives out in Oakland and we've done a couple of Comic-Cons together. So he was able to come out and he had the same reaction I had where I was like, wow, I didn't know we could do this. Yeah. And so we've done a handful, maybe 4 or 5 cons together. And he's always been a great guy.
Yeah,
and
he always was a good guy. He's
level-headed. Yeah, he's level-headed. The acting thing was never really his bag anyway. He was just really a great martial artist, and he was a good enough actor, just kind of like all of us were, you know, trying to fake it, you know, but he was legit. He was a legit martial artist. And I mean, he worked with me on a lot of stuff and made me a lot better. Whenever it came to the on-camera action stuff, I was always biting something off of Michael or having him teach me something. But yeah, so Michael's great. He's
that's cool,
we
man.
stay in
That's
touch
great
a little
to
bit.
hear.
Yeah,
that's great.
Steve,
I don't want to like take all the time, but do you want to? If you have any questions, I mean, he's your friend. I'm pretty sure you know everything about him. So I'm just moving it along. You know, I'm just whatever you want to. If you have anything, just tell me. Hey, Alex, shut up. I want to ask something.
No. I think it's going along great. I mean, this is exactly what we wanted. You know, this is the reason that we want to have some guest hosts in here like this, is so they can come in and tell their story. And it's like people are already going to be used to you and I, Alex. So we want to give that person who's the guest to talk about anything and everything they want, So actually, maybe I will ask. So after you left Power Rangers, I know that after you left VR Troopers, I know that you were in LA for quite a while still, doing a lot of like other acting stuff. What eventually brought you back to Dallas, and then eventually started opening up all your bars and stuff like that? How did that all come about? Because I'm a little unclear on that.
Well, I kind of went in a few different directions. Music was always my passion. My family was very involved in music in the Dallas scene.
Brad's a very good country singer, by the way, too.
I used to be. I'm kind of questioning it now. But my dad was a singer and a musician. My uncle, my brother, everybody had house bands. They had cover bands. I mean, I grew up in a very musically inclined family. And I'd end up getting on stage with those guys, and I learned a couple of Eagles songs and a couple of Bob Seger songs, and I'd get up and jam with my family's band. So I grew up around the music scene. And after I went to LA, I kind of put the brakes. I didn't even think about music that much. I was just in LA to be an actor, and I focused on that. I got VR Troopers. That was a 2-year gig. When I came out of that, I did a couple of jobs. I got in the union, did a couple of shows. And then the same manager that was representing me during VR Troopers and then the acting side, he was an ex-music, like a music manager. He used to manage like, what was it? Poison? Was it Poison? No, it was a Cherry Pie. She's
Warrant.
Yeah. So he managed them.
Yeah.
And a couple of other people, from way back. But he had hookups in the music industry. So when he asked me after VR Troopers, he's like, what else do you want to do? You want to be an actor? What do you want to do? I said, well, actually, I'd really like to get back into music, which to him was new. He didn't know that I had any background in music at all. So he said, well, why don't you make me a little, demo tape? And I got a karaoke machine, like a laser disc. You remember the big laser disc things back in the day? You don't, Steve.
I remember the laser disc.
So they were literally like that damn big.
He still has episodes of Power Rangers in those.
Yeah.
They actually do have the Power Ranger movie on laser disc. It looks like a huge giant CD.
Yeah, it is massive.
Yeah.
So I bought this. It was a karaoke machine, and you could buy the karaoke discs on Laserdisc. So I did a demo where I would sing, and I had the CD, and I recorded it to cassette. And he did a 4-song demo. It was like I picked a Garth Brooks song and a Brooks and Dunn song and a George Strait song, and made a little homemade demo. He shot it out to Nashville to his friends out there. I probably could have done pop as well, but I wasn't 98 Degrees. I wasn't Backstreet Boys. I wasn't a boy band.
There wasn't enough of you to be in a boy band. It was just you.
It was just boy.
It's just a boy, one man boy band.
Yeah. So LA pop music scene didn't really appeal to me because my family had country bands and loved country music. So that's what I grew up on. And I was like, Nashville. So we made the demo, shopped it out there, and the guy that he knew, it was just, again, that timing thing, his buddy became a big producer. He wrote I Can Love You Like That for All For One and John Michael Montgomery, and it was #1 on both charts, the country charts and the R&B charts.
Right.
So this songwriter was a producer. He was kind of, on his way up because of that one song, and that's who my manager buddy knew. So when he gave him my tape, he was like, look, man, he's coming off of a hit show. He's got a decent voice. He's young enough. He's like, man, let's get him out here in the studio. So went out there, picked out some songs from some Nashville writers that wrote real songs. And I went in the studio and cut a couple, did a demo and shopped it around and got a deal with Curb Universal. So I ended up being a country artist and went on the road and played music for 3 years.
Look at this dude, just walks between the raindrops, man. Never, no bad shit happens to this guy, man. He just one kick-ass thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Attaboy.
It's so funny because people talk about this like, man, you were an actor. You were a singer, all this stuff. I go, yeah, I did all that in the early part of my life. I go, I've been living on credit since. I go, I maxed out all my good luck credit cards and all my good fortune and life experience credit cards up front, and now I'm paying for all of them.
So,
I mean, since then, I mean, I haven't been a lead on a series since VR Troopers ever. So yeah, that was my one and done. I don't know why. I would have loved to have been on another series, but I never got the shot. Music, I got one shot at it. I milked it for 3 years, had a blast. I was in my early 20s and playing 150, 170 shows a year, and I was having a blast, but that was my one shot. After that, done. So, I kind of,
and that's sort of when you came back here to Dallas then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I came back to Dallas and wanted to reinvent myself. And it was 2006, kind of told LA, I gave it a shot. I gave you 20 years of my life. And if it hasn't happened by now, I'm ready to move on. And it was like a bad girlfriend, it was just like a bad girlfriend. You're like, I gave you 20 years of my life.
Right.
And now I'm done. So yes, I just came back. Didn't really know what I was going to do. Went out to a nightclub at the Ghost Bar at the W Hotel. It was their grand opening weekend. The week that I moved back was the grand opening weekend of this massive Vegas style club that they built in Dallas. And I went and me and my friends all did a welcome back party. Right. And so we got a table, we got bottles, we celebrated. I ended up getting to know all the managers there. And about 2 weeks later, I was like, I guess I need a job. Now that I'm back home. So I called those guys and said, hey, I just moved here from LA. Are you guys looking for any extra help? And they were looking for another guy to be a VIP, bottle service host. And right place, right time. I got that job, stayed there for 3 years, and then ended up moving on to bigger and bigger nightclubs, and then got into restaurants and got into bars. And I got tired of making people a lot of money. And I was like, I end up working all that. Yeah, it's time to start getting some of that coming my way.
You're right, Steve. You're right, Steve. Not one bad thing happens to this guy. And I just met him. What happened?
Walks between the raindrops.
That's a great title for a movie if it's not already out there.
Oh yeah, I don't think it is.
Between the raindrops. That's a good movie.
So I had a one. When you came back, was it something where people would recognize you, or did you put the entire LA scene behind you, the VR Trooper thing? Obviously, people who've watched you, like myself, who grew up with all these shows, if we see you, we're like, wait, this guy looks familiar. Let me see, get a little closer. It is him, right? Do you get that now? Did you get it when you came back? How was that like for you?
Every now and then. I don't think I've ever been walked down the street famous, that kind of thing. People are like, oh my God, look, it's so-and-so, like that. Randomly. So I did a movie called Boyhood about 4 or 5 years ago. Wildly successful, nominated for, I think it was Oscars 5 or 6 Oscars. Yeah. So, I was a pretty decent sized character in that movie. So, and then it got all the Oscar, fanfare and all that stuff. And next thing you know, I'm at the awards ceremonies and stuff like that. So that on my professional level was the biggest thing I had ever been, exposed to, walking down the red carpet and standing next to Lenny Kravitz and, Robert Duvall and all this stuff. So I'm almost like, holy shit, I'm like here. I'm with the stars, and they don't even know I'm nobody. That kind of thing. So, but that was probably in the moment just because of how big that movie was and how well publicized that was. There were times where I'd be out at dinner and they'd be like, hey, excuse me, are you the guy in Boyhood? So that was surprising again. Before that, if you, and Steve knows too, you couldn't go to anywhere like, Universal Studios or anything like that when you were a Power Ranger or a VR Trooper. Like you get kids running after you.
Yeah.
Like that was if you were around a bunch of kids, you weren't safe and you get noticed all the time. Now you go somewhere, you go to a restaurant, there's no kids there, nobody knows who the hell you are. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah, like I was actually just going to say, like, probably after I left Power Rangers, like around 97 or so, for like 10 years, I didn't have anything to do with Power Rangers, and I never was recognized anywhere. But it was also at a time when there wasn't any of the social media that's out there now. There wasn't any Facebook yet. There wasn't any like Twitter, Instagram, none of those things yet. And the fans were also still growing up. You know what I mean? Like, they were a good 10 years behind us. So they needed to hit into their 20s. And so I think all the things sort of came together all at once. There was a resurgence of Power Rangers because all of these fans now had platforms to talk about Power Rangers. So there was the forums, and all of a sudden it was, social media, and everybody's getting on social media, and the Comic-Cons are also starting to swell and grow. And so the demand was there. And so it just all sort of snowballed all at the same time. And, I remember for like 10 years, I wouldn't get recognized anywhere, nothing like that. And then all of a sudden, like social media came around, and then the cons started happening, and everything all happened at once. And next thing you know, I'll be out in the bar, I'll be like, "Hey, man, aren't you Rocky from the Power Rangers?" I'm like, "What's up?" They're like, "Dude, let me get a selfie," And then now it happens a lot, So it's just weird how it came around like that. It's all really a timing thing because of our demographic. They were all so young. And then there was no way for people to communicate with each other either. So
where it really changed for me was when it went to Netflix. When it went to Netflix, that was just like, dude, I'm watching this show. And then it happened and we communicate through social media was, hey, man, I grew up watching your show. It's on Netflix. Now I'm showing my son or my daughter, or I'm rewatching the entire series because when I was a kid, I'm binge watching it. So Netflix definitely, once it went live, Netflix, there was a spike. Yeah, it was definitely a spike there.
Definitely, yeah.
I believe it because it's something that. So for me, I do a lot of background check. Like we're going to be doing different people on here. I'll go back and rewatch things, and it's so much easier now to go onto Netflix, and just say, hey, there's Ryan Steele, there's Brad Hawkins, exactly how I remembered him every morning when I used to watch it, And my youngest daughter now, she plays with like I got her all the like legacy figures of the Power Rangers, so she's playing with them, and she listens to the tune come on TV, and immediately like she wants to watch it. It's weird, right? The generation there's a gap there, but to her is all brand new, and now it's fresh. So she knows who all the characters are. Same thing with the VR Troopers. I'm trying to like get her into different things little by little. I'm like living my childhood again through her.
Yeah.
That's cool. Sure.
Through her. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So really quickly, man, what's you have anything coming up? Is there anything that you want to plug? Is even the bar, like what anything that you want the fans and the people who obviously grew up with you and are being reintroduced to you, or who are new listeners who are now like, oh, I'm gonna go back and go check out Netflix. Like anything out there you want to put out there, man?
Dave, I think what'd be cool is if, since even you guys didn't know about the Cybertron pilot, I think it'd be cool for anybody who's a Power Ranger fan or a VR Trooper fan or both, to go check out that pilot, because you usually don't get to see pilots. Yeah. You don't get to see what they sold, what the production company sold to get the series funded. So it's pretty cool. It's what's funny to me is watch JDF in my same wardrobe doing all the same stuff, and I'm like it's like a parallel universe thing. Yeah, because you're like no, but that's my character, and that's not, you're not supposed to be that. You're you. I'm me, and so it's pretty funny to go back and watch it because it's all the same sets, all the same stuff, and it's just so it's we cool, have this.
But, I think I'm sorry, Adam, I cut you guys off again, but I think we'd be doing a real disservice if we didn't touch on some important things with Brad, guys. Brad is like the main guy in Goblin Slayer. He is the main character. Like he's still relevant to this day. He does all kinds of anime voiceover stuff. He is
my Goblin Slayer,
the man, and that show in the anime world is blowing up, man. So guys,
we didn't talk about that.
I know. I wanted to touch on it, and make sure that people knew.
That's where I was going. I was hoping you would bring it up because I have it here in front of me, and I was going to.
You guys are the interviewers.
Oh no, I know.
Supposed to have this stuff
laid
out.
We're on it. Actually, one other thing we can say too, we can go back and talk about Goblin Slayer, but one of the hopes for us is that we can get Brad back quite often. You know what I mean?
Yes, please.
Kind of like sort of be like, one of the anchors of people that comes back a lot. So I'm hoping he's down to do that with us. But one of the things that we want to do when we do that we're doing with this show is, all the people that do sign up with the video portion of our show on Patreon, we're going to be doing weekly prize giveaways. So maybe Brad, if you're down this week, maybe put together a signed, I don't know, maybe if you got a signed Goblin Slayer, or maybe you got
we usually have these for the cons, but it's got Goblin Slayer right here, and I could, write some stuff, and you just tell me how many photos, or we'll do some kind of contest and whatever.
We're
got plenty of pictures.
We're going to pick weekly winners, and then we plan on bringing that person onto the show to do a little 5-minute interview with that person that won. So each week we're going to bring one of the fans in to do a little bit of hosting with us as well too.
Nice.
So maybe so this next week we'll probably give away the signed Brad Hawkins autograph, which I think was tits. So make sure you guys definitely sign up with the Patreon and not only check out the whole video and enjoy us interacting with, you can see our faces and whatnot, but at the same time get the chance to win.
And there's a lot of things.
Cool shit.
Your anime list is strong. You know what I'm saying?
It's strong. Yeah.
There was one day I went on IMDb and I was looking for the name of some character. Somebody was like, "Hey, what was the name of that character in that show?" So I was like, "Hold on real quick." I went on IMDb and I was like, "Oh my God, this is all anime." I was like, I had no idea that I'd done that many.
How did you get into the anime scene? Because anime is like, because of Netflix again, they're bringing in so much anime to the regular consumer, not somebody who knows about anime, that it's blowing up.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, man. I'm a big believer in right place, right time, right, connections, that kind of thing. I've been fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time, and I've seized the opportunity if it was put in front of me. When I moved back in 2006, there's a company here called Funimation, and they do most of the dubs here in Texas. It just so happens that out of anywhere, they do them in Texas, and they do them pretty close to where I live, which is, I'd say 30, 40 minutes. It used to be in Arlington, Texas, when they were smaller. And my agent called and she goes, "Hey, there's a company and they think you got a good voice, but they do a lot of walla. So you just be you and a bunch of other people making noises in a booth, or you might be a bunch of rowdy, you might be at a fight scene, an army scene, of whatever, background noise. Just background noise." And I was like, okay, I guess I can do background noise. So first thing was, and I went in there and they're paying you $50 an hour. I mean, it was nothing, just to stand behind a microphone with a bunch of guys and BS for a little while, make noises and do background noise. So I started out in Walla, and it's nothing worse than being in a 3x3 booth with 5 grown men. There's a real hygiene.
Well, that would not fly here now with the the COVID restrictions.
There was no social distancing in the booth. So and I started doing that, and then next thing they're like, "Hey, can you bounce into Studio C?" Because they did a bunch of shows. They're always rotating anywhere from probably 20 to 30 different anime shows. Wow. And they're like, "Hey, could you go on Studio C? They need a security guard." So it's like, wait, or I'll shoot, that kind of thing. Okay, thank you, Brad. You're out. So then it became security guard number 5. And then it became demon number 6. And then this guy. And then it just started working into where all of a sudden this character becomes a recurring. And then the character that I did in this scene, they would tell me becomes, they just bought the streaming rights. So now I've got 100 more episodes of that one character I did one time became a series. So, and Goblin Slayer is one of those very rare opportunities where I got a chance to be the lead and audition.
So awesome, man. So awesome.
And then the show is, pretty
crazy.
Raw and fun.
That is like next level stuff.
So yeah, it's 15 years now. Now I'm, straight up 15 years doing voiceover. And
see, Alexis, man, I'm telling you, dude, this is the between the raindrops, dude, man.
He was talking, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not watching the Patreon, you're not part of our Patreon with the video, you're missing out, because as we're talking, I'm looking at Steve, and Steve's making the face of the rock between the raindrops. Here we go again. And I'm like, he's going to say it. I'm waiting for him to say it.
Yeah, it's coming. It's bubbling up. Yeah.
No, man, Brad is my brother, man. So, you only want the best for your people that you really care about anyway, man. So I was like, I'm just nothing but stoked for this guy, and it's cool too to have a friend like that, because, it's really cool to be able to go to certain places and get, to drink and at a nice discounts or whatever, you know what I mean? So you always look out for each other. Exactly. So
we're definitely taking care of each other.
Now, where's your bar exactly at? I went to Dallas a couple years ago for the very first time. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. So
yeah, me too.
I was able to go out there for the very first time and watch my first game. Dak throw his first touchdown pass.
Oh, yeah.
They beat the Chicago Bears like 36-10. I was going insane. So where are you located out there?
I am in North Texas, so I'm around the Plano, Frisco, the Colony, Louisville, Allen area.
Yeah, we both are. Yeah, I'm
north.
Yeah,
we're north of we're North Texas. You
so
go any further
the bar
north,
itself is so.
I've got one in Carrollton. It's a sports bar in Carrollton called the Chop Shop, and then we got Shakerton's, which is a craft cocktail bar in the Colony, Texas. I opened up Sushi Marquee, which is my 80s, 90s themed sushi bar.
Awesome spot, guys. If you ever come to Dallas, you need to come to Sushi Marquee. It's in the Star Center, which is where the Cowboys practice stadium is, and it's a super upscale shopping center with the big Cowboys practice field right in the middle of it, and then right off to the side, you pull up in your little valet and you go right up the escalator, and there's Sushi Marquee. And when you walk into this joint, it's sick, man. It's like
if you're a Cowboys fan, Alex, and it'd blow you away, because you're in the middle of Dallas Cowboys everything. Like, it's the world headquarters, the practice field, everything. They've got all the legends, everybody who's in the Ring of Honor. They have podiums you can take pictures in front of with all their stats on it, and that's in the middle of a bunch of restaurants. And I was fortunate enough to be one of those restaurants chosen for that. So we got a really cool 80s, 90s themed sushi bar.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Very cool. Yeah. I highly recommend anybody comes to Dallas, they need to go to Sushi Marquee and check that spot out. I'm not even a big fish eater, and I go to that spot all the time because it's
a fun time.
Yeah, it's good times. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's fun time.
Yeah,
Steve, do you have anything else for Brad, Steve?
No, man. I mean, I feel like doing these multiple times, we'll get him back, more and more, and we'll have all kinds of cool things that we can talk about. We don't feel like we got to get it all in right now.
Correct, exactly.
But yeah, if there's anything else you want to bring up,
well, Brad, for sure. The very last thing is, and we won't even. I think I want to save it for the next time you come, but we need to create a VR Troopers Lightning collection, man. Like, people need those figures out there.
It's not up to me. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah,
Brad needs to make that phone call.
Hasbro has the rights to all that stuff.
Yeah. So, I'm looking around. It's funny. I'm in my office and I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, I got that's about the best that I got. What else? Yeah, that's all the toys we made.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the collectors out there. There's a resurgence of all these 90s toys and people want them. I've seen it at firsthand. People are going crazy for these things. But Brad, on behalf of myself, again, this has been a surreal moment for me. Again, like, I'm here with Steve. I have no business being here with him, and and now I'm here with you. So I definitely have no business being around you either. So I'm just
Brad, don't sell yourself short.
Alex, man, he produces all kinds of podcasts for all kinds of people, about housewives of New Jersey and all that stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
So he does his thing.
I do my thing. I don't talk about it.
He's a good producer, man. He's a really good producer. So don't you sell yourself short.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. But If is there anything that you social network wise that you want to put out there, like that you're more active on, so that people can follow you?
I mean, all my handles. If anybody wants to, talk to me or communicate at all or follow, all my handles are at Mr. Brad Hawkins. So
every one of them,
all of them,
Twitter, the Facebook, Grindr, all of them.
Yeah, the interweb, the tweeters, and the
Grindr.
Instagrammers. Yeah, so it's all at Mr. Brad Hawkins.
That one just went over his head.
Yeah.
All the grind. No, I heard it.
Yeah,
I heard it.
All right, guys. Once again, make sure to check us out on Patreon at Fantastic Duo Show. Just go to patreon.com and search for Fantastic Duo Show, where you'll be able to find our tiers in there and everything that will come along with that. And if you guys want to hit us up on our Instagrams, Steve, let them know your Instagrams, sir.
Yep, you got it. It's Steve Cardenas PR. That's pretty much all my handles too. Twitter and all that as well. You can follow us there. We're going to always post up, the episodes, upcoming episodes, who we're going to have that week, and whatever, if there's anything special we're going to discuss as well. We'll always kind of pre-announce that on those. So make sure you turn your notifications on your social media for us, and that way you can find out what's cracking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And Brad, dude, seriously, brother, I appreciate you coming on and doing this with us, man. So it's our second week doing the show, and this is a real nice treat, man. As always, it's always good to hang.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. Best of luck, guys.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you guys, and I want to see you take this thing and run with it.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, you can follow me at Alexis Cardoza. And to end things, don't forget that to follow all of us here, because you never know when we're dropping some type of giveaway via Steve's archive. And Steve, we're gonna kind of do this for a second week. Drop that hotline for us as we say goodbye.
What's up, Ranger fans? It's morphin' time. Hope you guys have a more phenomenal week, and join us next week on the Fantastic Duo Show.
Later, guys.